was asking for all this pain, man, I feel like I can't hold it. Going off lean, and you know that I be on it. I ain't slipping, boy, you knowin' that I'm focused. Fly time, prime time, I'm ballin' hard sideline. Baby, I'm sorry, I ain't no time for the waste. On the road, yeah, I be gone every day. 2-100, put myself around the face. It's time for real niggas and fake bitches to separate. I heard they speaking on my name. You better stay up in your lane. They do it all for the fame. You know I never change.
Welcome back to the kitchen. This is episode 8. If you can't handle the heat, stay out the kitchen. I'm here with my co-hosts Matthew Taylor and Brett Kirsch, Stefano Mahani. So as of today, the NBA draft occurred. How many days ago? Was it 4 days ago?
Yep.
Yeah, 4 days ago. So we're gonna give a little insight on that, talk about free agency a little bit, and continue our segment a little later on in the episode. We'll talk about top 10 running backs because last week we did corners, so now we're going back to the offensive side of the ball. So do you guys want to get started on the draft, Matt or Brett? Do you guys want to?
I'll touch on it first because you guys know more about college basketball, but just from what I've seen a lot, and I could tell consensusly from social media and stuff that the Pistons definitely had one of the better drafts, if not the best, with Jaden Ivey falling to him at 5. Not saying that. I mean, you could have said he could have went to like 4th. I think the top 3 is pretty unanimous who was going to go there. Could have said he could have maybe went to 3 or to 4 were the Kings, but Detroit obviously good fit. And then they got the one, what's his name, Duran, the center.
Yeah,
Duran. Yeah, he looked pretty good. He looked like a absolute manimal.
I mean,
a man-child, whatever.
He shut down Chet. He shut down Chet.
My take on Jalen Duren is this: like he's the youngest player in the draft class, I believe. Could be mistaken.
Okay.
If there was a guy that's like in the second round or something, out of like the big name players, he's the youngest. He all raw talent. Like he can literally be like a DeAndre and type of guy, just animal. Just super athletic. Like they have all the tools, but you know when a player doesn't have like the right basketball mind, sometimes they don't develop fully. I think that's just a question. Like at Memphis, there were some points in games where he literally looked like the best player on the court. Like I remember against Houston, who's such a good quality basketball team in college. Like they don't have every single like stud, but they have a great team and a great system with Calvin Sampson as the head coach. He looked like the best player on the court. And then there's other times like I've seen where against Michigan, when they blew the lead, or not against Michigan, St. Peter's. When they lost against St. Peter's, he looked non-existent. It looked like all he did was literally stand, try to go for a rebound, and not try to box out, just try to like flail his arms up. But if he hits and performs like he does against like the certain games, that's A+ pick.
Oh yeah, obviously I think any person's gonna say the Pistons had a good draft. I mean, you got to take into account Jaden Ivey actually wants to be in Detroit. You can't say that for many players, and he actually wants to play in Detroit.
I don't think anyone will say that.
Yeah, no, but I don't know if you knew this, but his dad,
his parents,
played in Detroit. So yeah, so that's kind of a dream situation right there. Especially they didn't have to trade up to 4. He just fell right to him. Even though like most people would consider, I'm not too high on Jaden Ivey. I think obviously he's good. Like people just want to instantly compare him to Ja Morant and Russell Westbrook and fucking Derrick Rose just because like how athletic he is and how explosive he is.
That's not
true. Come on, that's not true. He's definitely a good player, and I think he should have been obviously in the top 5. He definitely has the potential, but like it's still a great pick for the Pistons. Obviously, you need that that backcourt's gonna be insane with him and Cade. And,
I kind of feel the same way about Jaden Ivey as you do, Steph. Like college basketball, I watch all the time. Big Ten, I probably watch the most of out of like Power 5 conferences. Them are the Big East. There's been like if you look it up, Jaden Ivey in transition looks literally like the best player on the planet. Like there's a couple layups and a couple dunks that he has where your jaw will just drop to the floor. There's also times when they get into the half court offense where he doesn't make great decisions, which he's a young player. I think it's an insane steal at 4. They could have traded back and probably gotten Keegan Murray if I was the Kings. But The only problem I have with the pick is Jaden Ivey and Cade. They're both excellent scorers, A++ scorers. They're both B passers. It's going to be a little bit harder to have two guys that are such ball dominant, such primary scorers, they're go for the shot first guys, not pass first guys in your backcourt. But with that type of talent, you're most likely going to succeed.
Yeah.
The way I kind of had the whole draft, if I had to sum it up, was there was 3 groups of them. There was top A, which I feel like you can kind of just go down from, it's Paolo, Smith, Chet. And the way, if I was drafting, I would have seen it as who's the best player now, which in my opinion, it's either Paolo or Smith. Who's the best player that could develop, which in my opinion, it's Chet. He has the
best potential.
Yeah, he has the best
ceiling.
potential. And if I was a team, can we get that player to the best potential? And I think Chet is like playing the lottery, honestly, because if he fills out, yes, he's going to be one of the best players in the NBA, but there's not a great chance that he's going to fill out to be like a Giannis type of build or even like some sort of muscular guy. I feel like Smith and Paolo were way more of the safer picks because they're going to be good right away. They know how to win right away. They also have the ability to become generational players, but their tools are already kind of there and it's easier to develop those tools. Like Jabari Smith gets better at dribbling, gets a little bit better at passing. He could be a top 10 player.
Yeah.
Paolo gets a little bit better at shooting, gets a little bit better at defense. Same exact situation.
Yeah.
And there was the second group of like Johnny Davis, Jaden Ivey, the guy, Mathurin, the guy from Australia, all those type of guys where they can all be all-stars, but they're going to take a little bit more development, a little bit more push. It's really, you're drafting more on that area of positional need than just taking the best player by far.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna agree completely, Matt. We've already talked about this. I agree completely on the Chet take. I don't know, man. I think he's gonna get a reality check. I already told you guys this.
100%.
Okay, I get you're confident, but don't be saying, "Oh, who do you want to dunk on?" They asked him, "Who do you want to dunk on?" You see this, Matt, and he was like, "Oh, whoever's under the rim." Like, motherfucker, if you see,
what do you want him to say?
if you see Joel Embiid or Giannis under the rim, like, bro, like, come on,
I get
bro.
it is a tough question. I feel like Chet,
it's a layup question for him for failure.
yeah.
That's true.
He's
Yeah,
like,
they kinda
oh,
set
no
up
one.
for it.
Like he's not gonna say no one. He's gonna be confident in himself.
I know,
Obviously,
but
yes,
just
he's gonna
come on,
get
bro.
reality checked. But also with all of your examples you bring up, it's always Joel Embiid and Giannis who are two of the most dominant players in the league.
Okay, like
I'm
Rudy
not
doing
Gobert.
that-
Rudy
Yeah,
Gobert's
Bro,
packing his ass too.
No, he's not. But Rudy Gobert is horrible.
That's cap.
No, Rudy Gobert is one of the best interior defensive guys in the league by far. Like that's
Yeah.
not a question. He can't do shit off of that, but if you're just taking one thing, Rudy Gobert might be the top of his thing.
Yeah,
Does
for rim
one thing
protecting.
better than anybody else. He's one of the
Yeah.
best rim protectors.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm not a super big Chet fan, but you can make a case why he's going to be really, really good. If you go back to Gonzaga, Timmy got more touches. Their point guard Mark got more touches. He got the 4th most touches scoring wise on that team.
Yeah, it wasn't his role in the team.
So you can be like, we actually run an offense through this guy. He can be a lot better. He can look better. It'll look not as sloppy. What turns me off of Chet is there's been multiple times in like, I distinctly this 11 o'clock random night in like January, WCC. It was like San Francisco versus Gonzaga. San Francisco does not have any NBA player, nowhere near. They had this one foreign guy who was a good big man, not great, and Chet got locked up by him just because every single time Chet would drive in, he would be able to resist Chet's momentum, hold him back. Chet would get stuck, and then Chet, I don't know if it's just young, being nervous because it was a close game, where he would take a really piss poor shot. Like he would just chuck it up, make a really bad contested layup. Well, he should have made a way better decision on passing, or just been able to take a better shot than not just still try to go up in the one motion. Like that's what really turns me off with Chet. Like there's been times where he just disappears and he looks kind of confused and not like he's built for the moment body wise. Like
Yeah.
he's just not physically able to overpower guys. That, like I said, I think Jabari and Paolo are significantly better now, but Chet does have the most potential.
Yeah, and
I think that comes with getting into the league. Obviously, he can be a much more strict regimen, like working out wise. I'm sure they know that he's undersized, so they're gonna get him on diet plans for
Get
stuff
him
like
on that
that for
Zion
to
diet.
beef up. I mean, I guess that's what he needs.
and NOLA diet. Yeah.
Gumbo.
But that'll be their probably main focus this offseason, getting him to beef up a little bit, and then obviously over the next couple of years keep adding on to it.
Yeah, like because obviously, like you might think I'm just a hater on Chet, but like obviously he's a great player. I mean, he's got all the skills you want for a modern big. It's just like he doesn't have the size to play modern big, and like you can have all the skills like that you have if you can't keep up physically with these other guys and they're just pushing you around. Like obviously you're not going to do much. And
think-
I think it was. Let me say one more thing, man. I just think it was really safe. Like obviously the Magic, no one expected to take Paulo because they didn't even hold a workout for him. So like you didn't think it would be Paulo, but I think that or Jabari Smith. Obviously, I think Jabari Smith is better. But taking the safe guy because they have a lot of talent. The Magic already have a lot of talent on the roster that they do need to develop. Taking another guy like Chet that you need to develop, like okay, you're not making your team any better. You just added the thing you already have. You already have a lot of developmental players. So taking probably the best player available that was there, that can kind of be the centerpiece of your team was probably better than taking another guy that you already have, basically. Not his skill set, but like his sort of development that you have in other players.
Yeah, I feel like the two things I was gonna say is everybody's like, oh, OKC, they're doing an amazing job of drafting the highest potential guy, which that makes sense some of the time to do that. But I feel like teams do need to draft like a role player in certain scenarios. Like you guys, like eventually you're gonna need like a 3-and-D guy. You're not gonna like on a team. You're not gonna have everybody to be like
A ball handler.
yeah, like being able to just be like athletic freaks that can get to the bucket, score, nothing else really, like in their game. In my opinion, the most underrated pick and the underrated team was Houston. Like Jabari Smith, they got beyond lucky that he fell 2-3, in my opinion. I would have taken him number 1 if I was the Magic. He is by far, I think, the best out of the gate player just for what they need. He's going to be able to shoot and play defense right away. He'll be able to contribute. And then if you can develop his ISO ball, develop his passing, that's when he could get into something really special. I think to steal the draft, everybody's like, Jaden Ivey, yes, that's a really good steal, but it's still at 5. Like, I don't think you can really get a steal until later into the draft. In my opinion. I think the steal though was Ty Washington from Kentucky to him at 29. I think other than out of all the guards, Jaden Ivey 1, I would say Johnny Davis 2. I would put him honestly right there in that area at 3. Like he is like, I don't know, like including wings, like Mather and stuff like that. You can say he's a shooting guard, but pure guard, point guard, I think he's number 3. And yeah, he had a bit of a bad season at Kentucky, but he also got hurt in the middle of it, came back to the hardest stretch Kentucky played, and he looked okay. But then you also saw some moments where he broke the record of most assists in a game in his freshman season. Like that's incredible. He broke John Wall's record.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be a really good point guard. They got rid of John Wall today. We can kind of talk about that. He's supposed to sign with the Clippers, which makes him a really good team. But he's if
he's healthy, he's got to be healthy though.
Yeah, if he's healthy, they're going to be dangerous. But I think Ty Washington's almost like John Wall. Really quick, great passer, passing first. Not a great shooter, can finish around the rim. And have him, who's more of a pass first guy than Jalen Green and Jabari Smith. That team's dangerous.
Yeah. There's one thing I also want to talk about, Matt, with you. We talked about it a little during draft night, like, oh, when is this guy gonna get taken? Kennedy Chandler, their pick is traded to Memphis. So what do you? I think Memphis also had a pretty underrated draft with that they were able to get. They also traded who they trade to
They traded Melton.
Yeah. They who else did they pick? They picked Wendell Moore also got picked up he went to Minnesota. I think that's another great pick. You know, like people, again, I completely agree with what you're saying. You can't really have a steal at 5. Like obviously it's a great pick that he fell to 5. He wasn't taking at 4, but it's not really like a steal because everyone knew he was gonna be a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a steal. But you think like a Wendell Moore, I think that was a great pickup for the Timberwolves. And again, Kennedy Chandler, I think like again, he's a developmental guy. So like you're obviously gonna need to develop him. He doesn't really, I mean, what is he like 6'1"? Like he's not really that tall. He's not really that big of a guy, but I think he can still be like a good guy off you were saying a role player. Like he can come off the bench maybe.
Oh, he can come off the bench, be the fast pass first guy, and kind of like facilitate the offense, and they're not gonna have to pay him a lot of money at all. Like he in my like those are the type of guys that you need to like draft. I feel like once you get past top like 7-ish, I feel like from 7 to 1, you take the best player available. You take like a Jaden Ivey, even though if you have a Cade Cunningham still. You take like if I was this Kings, I would still take in Jaden Ivey because he's the best player. Just because at that point the potential's so high and the player's already so good, they're gonna contribute.
Yeah.
Then from like 7 to like 18 range, there's those guys that you're gonna pick that have high potential that you can either do the potentials through the roof, like the Giannis pick back in 2013, where he's just a skinny kid from Greece, and you're like, he could become this. Or you take a guy that's like, I don't know, for example, like a player that's automatically going to be a good just shooter. You know he's going to be a good shooter. He could develop more, but he's just going to, if all he can develop in the league is just to be a good shooter, I'm still taking him there. Then there's the guys after that, which the Warriors kind of did this by taking the guy from
The center.
Wisconsin, Minnesota, Patrick Baldwin Jr., the highest potential he's not going to contribute this year, but he was supposed to be a top 5 pick last year if you went back a year ago, but like he has that potential. Or you just take a guy that's going to be like just a random player that's, like I said, just going to be there just to come off the bench, get 5 minutes a game in the regular season, contribute, be done.
Yeah,
I
I agree with that too as well.
The teams at the end of the draft are already good. They don't need anyone. Like, and then, like you said, with the top 7, they're all pretty bad teams, obviously, unless it's an old pick from like the Boston they had with Jason Tatum, like an older pick that was traded there a while ago. You just want the best player available to try and help your franchise.
I mean, the Warriors, in my opinion, kind of screwed it up. They should have taken, like, if you went off of positional need, you would have taken James Wiseman, taken off the best player. I feel like going into the draft, we kind of knew that was LaMelo.
Matt, so I want to ask
But they
you
were in a different situation because there was a lot like they already had Steph Curry. I mean, I know what you're saying, but
Yeah, I know.
Matt, I want to talk about the Knicks a little.
I think everybody's calling them stupid. I think it's smart.
Yeah. They got whose contract they get rid of?
They got rid of Kemba's.
Yeah.
They have a full contract, a full max contract. I think it's stupid that they were trying to give it to Jalen Brunson. If I was the Knicks,
yeah, they're trying to give it to Brunson, which made no sense.
If I was the Knicks, I would not give Jalen Brunson 5 year or 4 years, $100 million. All right. He's a good player. He's not worth that. Before the Kyrie news, and like where it's really sounded like he was wanting out, you freed up a whole max contract. I would call up Kyrie being like, hey, you said you wanted to come to us originally. Come back. We already have a good team. They got 3 first-round picks. People are like, oh, they got robbed. If you look at the teams that I think they got a Wizards pick. I think next year's Wizards pick, 2023,
they're going to be horrible.
John Wall trade. They're going to be terrible. They could have a really good pick next year. The San Antonio Spurs are not going to be great. They got another pick from them. And I forget the other team, but it's another, like, not a great team. Like, those teams, if I was the Knicks, the way the Knicks see it as, they're competing. Like, you could think that they're not, but their front office thinks that they're competing.
They haven't
They're
competed
gonna try
in
to
20
compete.
years.
So at worst, the Knicks are going to be like in that 9 to like play-in seed, right?
Yeah.
So they're in that. They're not going to have a good draft pick. I would do a pick swap each year with the Wizards. I would do it with the Spurs. Like, why not? Like, you're probably going to get a better draft pick.
Yeah, and it's also I think it's also New York like media and the fans, bro. They just overreact over everything. Like
Yes.
at first, like I was looking at it, I was like, what the hell are they doing? But you look at the picks they got, and also like, okay, you don't like anyone at this spot, you don't have to take. Like
No.
people ignore that. They're like you always see the one guy, bro. He's like, oh, who the fuck is that guy? Oh, who
Oh,
the fuck is he's like, who the
Michael
fuck is this guy?
Rappaport,
Yeah, Michael Rappaport. And he's like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, okay,
Porzingis.
if they don't like if they don't like the guy at that spot who's available to them, why not? Why not try to get rid of the contract that's
Yeah.
kind of costing you cap space? Why not try to get another pick? Maybe you like another player from next year's draft or another pick backwards. Like you don't always have to take in. People just think like, oh, like you're at this spot, you should be taking at this spot. If we don't get a player, we're stupid. Which
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. It's like,
I think the way it is like you said, the New York media especially, they like to overreact. But I also think every fan, especially NBA fans, they are the worst at this.
Yeah,
They
New York,
see their
New York
team
said they were
do,
getting
like, a simple
Zion, Katie,
thing.
and Kyrie a year ago.
They see their team do a simple thing. It's night and day. They only talk in absolutes. Like it's literally like the best move of all time, the worst move of all time.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum's the best player of all time. He's the worst player of all time. KD's the best. He's the worst. Like every NBA fan is like there's no middle ground.
there's no
Like,
in between. They either say the trade sucks or the trade's good. Like why can't it be a fair trade? Why can't it be like, okay, why don't they understand like, oh, we needed to do this. We needed to get rid of Kemba. Like he's not playing for us and he's costing us so much money.
Like the way I could put it as like being a Ravens fan, say if Kyle Hamilton wasn't on the board, the Ravens traded back, I would not have been upset.
Well, I think they would have taken Jermaine Johnson, but
I still, even if we trade back and Jermaine Johnson was on the board, I still wouldn't have been that upset if I'm being honest.
yeah.
If we got like regardless, NBA talk, but still, like I don't think you should be upset if trading away picks to get more back
More capital.
or trading back in a draft.
It's because people like think like in the moment, like they don't think ahead where it's better in the future.
And they also like I get if it's like you trade and like you get no capital back for it. And it's like, why the hell did we even trade back if we get like no picks? But they got enough back. So like it's not they don't
got us. I think they easily won that trade.
Yeah, like that you said it. The Spurs are gonna be bad, the Wizards are gonna definitely be bad, especially if Bradley Beal goes. Like they're gonna be terrible.
So I don't know if you're that big into like Reddit threads of NBA and the Wizards.
Not much, no.
I'm in a couple Wizards Reddits, and
Weird.
that's probably the nerdiest thing I ever said. But the news basically is Bradley Beal's going to decline his player option and he's going to become the highest paid player in NBA history.
No.
I know. It's
respect.
Great.
Respect.
I respect in the bag. I respect staying.
Should not be the highest player in NBA history.
It's the bag, bro.
He's getting paid like 5 years, 230 million.
Respect to him and John Wall. They get their bag. They get their bag.
He gets that. Whoever gives him that contract, it's a bad look.
No, it's not really a bad look. It's like, dude, like
that type of money,
contract,
yes. That type of money, yes.
No, it's not a bad look, bro. Like you think about it, like at that point, like when you get
Bradley
up to the
Beal
max
deserves
contracts,
the
like
amount of
it's just a
money
bidding
Stephen
award.
Do you know what's a terrible
award.
look? That we could have traded him away for possibly Jaylen Brown literally last year.
Damn, that's crazy.
You think Bradley Beal deserves Stephen Curry money?
No, I mean, he obviously doesn't, but these organizations, they have money. Like it's going to be a bidding war at the end of the day.
If I think the Wizards, if I'm them, the way the NBA is, and it always will be, is you have the top 8 teams, right? Those 8 teams are competing for a title. Nobody else really is.
Yeah.
Were the Jazz competing for a title this year?
No, not really.
Yes.
Jazz, you could run that playoffs 100 times. They were never winning.
Was Denver competing for playoffs this year?
Not really. No.
Was Toronto?
No.
They all made the playoffs as a higher seed. I think there's 8 teams. They can win the title.
I think it might be less.
Maybe even less. Maybe I would say maybe even less.
I think it's 5
maybe
or 6.
Yeah.
If you told me there's a way that like the Mavericks could have won, I would have been like, all right, I could see that. A way that Philly could have won, I have that.
No, I think it's 5 or 6, but keep going, Matt. Yeah.
All right, either way, I think it's not like the NFL where I think in the NFL, no matter what, if your team
obviously not the wild cards, like
you kind of have the chance.
Yeah.
With the NBA, you have the top, whatever you want to say, 8 to 6 teams that are competing for a title. The rest should literally just be like, take everything, blow it up, in my opinion. There's no point in the NBA of just doing the middle ground of every single year which I live it and breathe it every single year as a Wizards fan my entire life. You make the playoffs as a 5 seed at the best. You lose in the first round, or maybe make it to the second round, get a top 10 to 18 pick. The player doesn't really turn out like anything, because unless you're drafting like a Giannis, which that happens once in a lifetime,
Yeah.
you're not getting
And you're in
anything.
the same spot
It's
as
gonna
before.
Change your franchise, and then you basically just repeat it until those players are old, and then you suck more, and then you just do it again.
And then you blow it up again. Yeah.
Which I don't get why if I was the Wizards, back to the whole thing, get Bradley. Bradley, thank you for everything you've done. One of the all-time Wizards players.
Bro's
He's
writing a
investing his
letter.
love.
Bro's writing a letter.
You should
No, but
literally like I would be fine we're not re-signing it.
yeah, no, Matt, I completely agree with that. Like, what's the point? And also, like, I got a feel for him because I love Bradley Beal. He's probably one of my all-time favorite Wizards, just because, like, obviously you respect the other Wizards, like the older Wizards guys that are, amazing. But like John Wall and Bradley Beal, those are who I grew up watching. That's why I was a Wizards fan. But like, if we're gonna suck, I don't want him on my team just to suck too.
Wasting his prime.
And we're wasting our money too. Like, okay, you want to go to a contender? Go ahead. I hope he wins a ring. I hope he goes to another team and gets paid.
It
I
just
hope he does.
hurts, bro. Think literally this time last year we could have got Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, I
bro.
know, but I didn't even know that. That'd be crazy if we had Jaylen Brown. But like, still, like, again, like, okay, we're just gonna end up trading him again too, because we're not gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna get to the second round.
I don't think
Jalen
Jaylen Brown's getting you
Jaylen Brown and a couple draft picks is way more potential than
Bradley
No,
Beal.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't think Jaylen Brown's gonna.
Yeah, no,
I
but
think
like,
let us have a
it's
team.
not really Jaylen Brown. It's the draft picks that
Yeah.
like, obviously Jaylen Brown's gonna be a good like one like
Asset.
start player to
I
have.
think Jaylen Brown
Foundation.
I think Jaylen Brown, I mean, it's kind of hard because we know Bradley Beal's ceiling. I think Jaylen Brown definitely has a higher ceiling.
Yeah, obviously. Well, Bradley Beal's almost like 30 something, right?
He's
Like,
28.
He's 29.
Okay, well, almost 30. Like, come on, we know his peak. When he's in his prime right now, so we know he's not probably not gonna give
any
him
other player in NBA history to average like 30 something and something other than Michael Jordan.
And again, like, bro, you were saying like, oh, he doesn't deserve that money. These organizations don't care. They make, unless you're like the Nets who lost money this year because of ticket sales. I don't know if you know that, Matt. They were like the only team in the NBA who didn't make money this year. But like, these teams make money.
Oh yeah,
like, they
they're
make
rich.
insane amount of. They're rich as shit. They don't care.
They're rich ass owners.
I've
never against
like Miles
Kevin
Bridges is
Durant
gonna get max contract. He's not worth it, but one team's gonna pay him, so every other team has to get into a bidding war with him for that max contract.
Oh yeah,
And that's just how business works. Like, obviously, they're not as great at, like, Kirk Cousins. That's the only NFL thing. Like, Kirk Cousins hit free agency. Obviously, he's not worth these other quarterbacks, but you got to get in bidding wars to get him. So
I mean,
the value goes up,
bro. 2016 free agency.
Yeah.
Timothy Mozgov got like 100 million.
Well, that was LeBron did that.
Got 100 million.
LeBron got Timothy Mozgov a bag.
LeBron
Alan Crabb got 100 million. You remember Alan Crabb?
Bro, Evan Fournier got paid a bag last year.
Bro, who also another player got the bag? Oh my
God.
God.
Bertans?
Chandler Parsons.
Parsons did get a bag.
Then he crashed.
Yeah, but that's just how business works. Obviously, they're not going to be equal in value to like a Steph Curry, but he doesn't deserve that money. I mean, I still think he deserves it. He's a great player, but like, he's not on Steph Curry's caliber. But like, the way the cap situation, like how the cap thing works,
weaker free agency class for sure.
Yeah, like, he's gonna get paid. And let's talk a little bit about free agency, because I feel like we talked about the draft enough. I wanted to talk about Miles Bridges. Matt, so I told you about the thing, the tweet. Brett, did you see the tweet?
No.
His brother tweeted out. It was like, "Oh, Charlotte doesn't want to pay us. Like who gives a fuck? We're going to Detroit."
He's becoming a full-time rapper.
He said he's going to Detroit. And like, Miles Bridges,
they're running a little squad over there.
They shouldn't give him a max.
I mean, is he worth the max? No, but like, if you really want him and you gotta outbid other
especially with a
teams,
place like Detroit, like they want players to go.
Yeah,
like people don't
again,
really want to go to Detroit.
Yeah, it's always the smaller market teams. Like Charlotte's
That's why Rudy
Charlotte
Gobert
wants
got
him,
a big ass contract.
Yeah, if Charlotte wants him, they're gonna have to give him the max, because other teams are gonna give him the max. They're not.
Yeah,
the smaller market teams are.
I really don't know. Like, if I was Detroit, all right, say this. I don't know if I would want him on my team for what I'm paying him.
Yeah.
Like, even if I know like other teams, like if I want him, I have to pay for this, and it's basically like your one max contract.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I really want. Like, you need shooters around Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. That's no question. Like, none
A
of
bit
them
of
are
D,
lights
a little
out.
bit of defense.
Huh?
Like you said, a 3-and-D guy.
Like Miles Bridges is a little bit more of an inside,
Mm,
like oop threat, good at defense, but not really a great perimeter defender.
yeah.
I feel like you could find somebody that's like cheaper that is not going to have as high potential, not going to be as young, that
Oh,
can
that's a great
still
player.
do, and they still have tons of draft. They're not going to be good next year.
Yeah.
Like they're going to have a higher draft pick. They can draft a forward then.
Mm,
Plus they have Sadiq Bey,
yeah.
who's a good ass player, underrated. Dropped 50 this year.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I don't think he's worth the money, but like again, like if he goes to Detroit, I'm not looking at it like fit wise because I agree, Matt. I don't think he's really a good fit, especially because he's not that great of a shooter. He's more he's a threat inside more than he is like a shooter. But like teams are gonna pay him the money because you have to if you want to attract players, especially the smaller market teams. Like okay, maybe a Lakers can like not have to pay him a lot because anyone wants to go to LA, anyone wants to
Yeah.
go to Miami,
What
anyone
the
wants
point
to
of
go.
interest?
I
Yeah,
don't really know what team. If you told me at the start of the off season, I would have been like he's going to Portland, but I don't know where he's going now because of the Jeremy Grant trade.
yeah. Let's talk about another player that news broke today. Kyrie Irving is staying in Brooklyn.
You guys see
AD's
his
probably
quote?
gonna stay there too.
You
Yeah.
guys see his quote?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, I
not-
did see it, but I
It's a crazy quote.
kind of like skipped over it.
It's a crazy ass quote. Like I kind of respect it a little, but
He
it's
said some like not valid shit.
Hopefully, he
Was
can
it?
play throughout the season.
yeah, he
I
has
think he
a
can.
lot.
Yeah. 'cause-
I think this
They
just
lifted it.
certified that KD is
All right,
most
you
likely
ready
not going
for it?
anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving. Normal people keep the world going.
Yeah, that's what
For
it
those
was.
who dare to be different, lead us into tomorrow. I've made my decision to opt in. Bro, it's not that deep. You just opted in. Contract.
bro acted like it was
Not
hard to
that
opt in
deep.
for $30
Bert,
million.
yeah, Bert's got $40 million, acting like it was the hardest decision in the world. But no, yeah, KD most likely
saw-
now that's gonna
Yeah, they're
attract him to
gonna stay
stay.
together, but he's also Kyrie. Could
I mean,
easily-
hopefully Ben Simmons comes back and
Yeah, Kyrie
realizes how to play basketball.
I like KD. I still do. Kyrie, he's also just putting himself in better position because there's going to be way better teams next year with cap space.
Mm-hmm.
I
Like
think
it's
also,
not like it's a simple like smart business move.
I mean, I don't.
think they're contending next year, Brooklyn.
Yeah,
I think with
They're
Kyrie
not- if you
playing
have-
throughout the whole season, they probably finish
top five at least.
third, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I think they're one of the 4 best teams in the East.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'd say Milwaukee first. I mean, we don't talk about it too much, but Milwaukee first, Boston second, and then they're fighting for like the 3 through 5 spot.
It's
Yeah.
either them or Philly.
Philly, and then probably Miami, I guess.
Yeah.
And then
And then you got like young teams like the Cavs can try
Yeah.
to grow better next year. And then like
I think it's
Like
it's make or
Wizards.
break. So I think
No,
the
not
Nets might
Wizards.
take it up a notch just because they know that this is it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's really my NBA talk.
yeah, now let you guys want to start the segment now of top 10 running backs.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So again, like we did last episode, we're starting at 10 this time and then making our way down. That way it's more suspenseful, even though I mean I hope we have the same number 1 guy. At least number 1 and 2 are like kind of solidified. After that, I'll take anything. But I think number 1 and 2 are like solidified.
Okay.
Before we start, I'm gonna give an honorable mention because he didn't play last year. J.K. Dobbins, he's going to be in the top 10 next year. I'm literally telling you right now, he's going to be in the top 10. He averaged 6.3 yards a carry his
I mean,
first year.
statistically, I don't know, but
You can
ability
say,
wise,
it's just his offensive line. He's a bulldozer, bro. When he came out of Ohio State, people thought him and Jonathan Taylor were probably going to be the best 2, and I still think they are the best 2 running backs in that class. I don't care about Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Cam Akers. He's better than both of them,
Yeah.
and he's going to prove it this year.
My sneaky guy for honorable mentions, Javonte Williams.
oh yeah,
I like that too.
If we're doing honorable mentions, I was gonna have Javonte Williams, and then what was I looking at?
Honestly, another guy,
Saquon, if he can stay healthy.
yeah, Saquon.
But last year he was really only injured because of a freak rolling his ankle incident. Before that, yes, he got injured from playing. But just because he hasn't really played that much in the past couple of years, I'm not going to put him on there. But definitely Saquon Barkley and Javonte Williams.
Yeah, and also because I think with other positions you can say like, oh, they've been injured, but it's fine because like running backs really like
It's
if you're
hard.
injury prone, it's really hard to get back into
Yeah.
the thing.
I
And
mean,
there's
we're
only
taking
like a
five
select
times.
few
You're taking so
people.
many tackles.
Yeah. Also, I want to say another guy. Damian Harris played really well last year, and I think if he plays good again this year, he's not in my top 10. Obviously, I hope he's not in your top 10 off of
Uh,
1 year, but
He's not.
I really like Damian Harris.
Yeah.
Uh,
Especially with the running
Not
team.
a bad shout.
that being said, my number 10 is Ezekiel Elliott.
He's not in my top
He's
10.
not in mine either.
He's in my top 10.
I got
I just
Najee
don't like.
Harris
I
at
just don't like
10.
his like hot Tiger look. But I agree with Matt. I have Najee Harris. Going into his second year. I mean, obviously, he said he
have-
beat.
No. Who do you have above Najee? He's at 10?
Yeah, just listen.
Alright, go,
I
go.
was saying obviously one of the most physical guys. Was he like 6'3"? He said he beefed up. Be more like 240 pounds now. He's gonna
He's a
be
good third down back.
used,
Like
used
he
a
can
lot in that
play-
offense. He was used a lot last year with Big Ben not being able to throw the ball, so the dump offs. And then of course they lost Big Ben, so they're gonna go look towards their running back. And then, yeah, you said third down, being able to break tackles. He's got good speed, good hands.
Duh,
It's just hard off his first year to put him higher than other people.
I'm not a huge fan of Najee because he plays for the Steelers, but you can't. He's undeniably talented. Like he can catch, he can run over people. He's still agile, and I think he also played with one of the worst
First offensive line. Yeah, like his yards per carry
So-
wasn't there but because his line was horrible.
Yeah, which I think I think running back's hard to judge. I think I've said this with every single position. It's hard to judge because people around him. But offensive line, if your offensive line does suck, it does make you look
Yeah.
a lot worse. Like,
Okay, so you have Najee at 10 too?
yeah.
I remember what you just said, how if your offensive line is bad, it's gonna make you look worse. Remember you just said that because while we move on, because I actually want to listen because I have
Yeah,
Najee
because-
obviously on my list.
With a better offensive line, you're going to be ranked.
Yeah,
higher.
no.
If
Keep that in
you
mind.
want
Keep that in
to.
mind. All right, I have Zeke.
Okay.
Obviously, I mean you don't have Zeke. I want to see who else you have on here because Zeke. A couple of years ago, obviously he's like the best running back in the league, but he
peaked
obviously
too
fell
early.
off.
He fell off.
Uh,
Especially with one of the best
I mean,
offensive lines.
I really like. I was looking at it like I didn't think I would have Zeke up on my top 10 either, but I was just looking at it and I was like obviously I don't like Zeke a lot, but I still think he's a great running back. I think people really.
I'd rather have every other person over Zeke.
Okay, I'll
I
hear
don't even
that.
know who you have off of this list that I have on.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
I think it's who I have at 9.
Okay, who you have at 9?
probably.
Austin Eckler.
I have Austin Eckler at 9.
I also have him at 9.
I have
Who
Austin
do you
Eckler.
Good
have,
with that. Good
Jeff?
receiver.
I have Austin
I'm
Eckler
gonna
at 9.
guess. I'm gonna guess it's my next guy. Maybe. I hope.
All right.
Okay, so we
Either
all
way.
do you have Austin Eckler at 9 too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Austin
so-
Eckler, he led the league in scrimmage touchdowns, or
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
tied with James Conner.
Great
He's a better
receiving back.
back.
Huge shoulder pad, so he can definitely break tackles.
He can
Shoulder pads
play-
are too big, bro. I'm telling you.
He has
They need-
linebacker shoulder
He
They need
pads.
plays
a-
like he plays like what you said with Najee Harris. He can catch. You can put him down at the third down scenarios. You can put him at when you need a short yardage gain for him to just bulldozer people. He's a good all-around running back.
Also, he has a low center. He's pretty short. He's like what 5'8", 5'9", so he's a low center of gravity too.
Agile, quick.
Yeah,
I think
agile,
Austin Eckler, he's just what you need. Like if you're taking a guy of running back, just to like not gonna
Great in
want.
fantasy too.
And what's crazy is he is by far the least paid on this list.
Yeah. Hopefully he gets his bag. Hope he does. Ain't no way
He's in,
motherfuckers
he's
like
in a
Melvin.
group with it's Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, and Alvin Kamara. Those are the 3 different running backs with 75 conversions on first downs and touchdowns as rushing and receiving. So he's in an elite group of being a dual threat running back.
Okay, who do you have at 8?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one?
Oh, Matt. Go ahead, Matt. Matt or Brad. Either one of you guys.
I have Aaron Jones.
I have Joe Mixon.
Aaron Jones is on your list.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones is not on my list, bro. Aaron Jones is not on my list. AJ Dillon's about to be the starter next year.
I'm taking Aaron
No
Jones
sleep.
over
You're
Zeke.
sleeping on Aaron Jones.
I'm taking Zeke over Aaron Jones. Actually, I'll respect Aaron. I was thinking about putting Aaron Jones on here. I just think, what is he better than Zeke at? Like, okay, maybe catching.
Receiving
Okay.
for sure. I think that's a huge part in an offense. And pure running, no. But he also has a worse offensive line.
Oh, that is true. Okay, that is
Yeah,
true.
100%.
I'm just, I
Other
don't
than
get the Zeke. here.
Bakhtiari, who's another good. They have Bakhtiari and a good right
coming
guard.
back
That's
now.
it.
Bakhtiari didn't even play last year.
I know, and he still did pretty good.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones, I think you're putting a little bit of disrespect on him.
Yeah.
You're putting disrespect on Zeke. Like I
Yeah.
get like people. Okay,
Or he wore a
obviously
crop
Tony
top.
Pollard- Okay, no,
Zeke-
people, no, I hate this. People are like, oh, like he has Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard's gonna play better. AJ Dillon had more yards last year. Obviously, Aaron Jones like his main thing isn't just rushing. He's more of a receiving back
Tony
type
Pollard's
role.
one of the best second backs in the league.
Aaron
Yeah,
Jones also
And AJ
Aaron
Dillon had
Jones-
more yards than Aaron Jones. Just keep that in mind.
Aaron Jones also had COVID for I think 2
Yeah,
games.
he was. Yeah, I know he definitely missed a few games.
So
Okay,
if you're
that's
going
right.
off of pure
Okay, I did not know
season,
that.
you can take out a games. Like I think AJ Dillon didn't miss a game. Like there was certain times where they did use AJ Dillon more. I
Yeah,
think that
he's
was
also
big
way more
again.
of just a powerhouse running back. He's
Yeah,
just way bigger.
which
So
it
he's
was
gonna
a snowy type of game like that in Green
Yeah.
Bay. But I
They're
think
two
taking off
completely
Aaron
different guys.
Jones.
Yeah, if I'm going off the eye test, if I were to take, I just say this: if I'm taking one of them on the Ravens, I'd rather have Aaron. Like just straight off eye test, I'd rather have Aaron
I'd
Jones
rather
than
have
Zeke.
Zeke, but I'll. It's close. I like your
No, they're
argument.
definitely all close. Like
I'd
definitely
have
honorable
Aaron
mention
Jones at
right
11.
outside.
I just think it's kind of stupid that you have Aaron Jones above him. And I'm just gonna say my 8 already. My 8's Najee Harris. There's no way you think Aaron Jones and and Austin Eckler are better than Najee Harris. Matt, you said it yourself. Actually, explain this. You said, "Oh, having a good offensive line helps you. Having a bad offensive line, it doesn't really show a lot." Okay, so tell me how Najee Harris was top 5 in rushing yards and amazing at receiving when the Steelers had one of the worst offensive lines in the league. It doesn't make sense. That kind of goes against what you're saying.
Look at the attempts.
Okay, look at you're obviously gonna have a lot of attempts when your offensive line fucking sucks and you get 2 yards of carry or
Well,
3
he's
yards
also
of
Yeah,
carry.
but I think
he's
that
pretty much
also
a single. He's a
contributed-
single back. Like
I think
they're not giving
you're
Benny
really-
Snell the ball.
I think this year with an
He
improved
had
running
he'd
back,
have
I
25 to
think
30
Stefano
attempts
with-
a game.
Yeah, I think Stefano, he's getting more attempts, and he's also, if you're putting AJ Dillon in the Steelers' backfield, Najee's attempts are going down.
oh, that is true. I'll
gotta
accept
think
that.
100%.
That's
they have
true.
A lot of
They
the other
have-
teams
the
you said
Steelers
have
have, other than Najee Harris,
Benny Snell.
they have Anthony McFarland, a guy from Maryland,
He's not good.
was not that great
He's not
at
good.
Maryland. Like he did go crazy against Ohio
He's the
State,
only
but
back in there. So he's
I'll
gonna
take
get
that.
all the
The
touches.
attempts is kind of stupid saying he.
And also, it's just
that
his
he was-
first year, so I mean, you gotta see what
Yeah,
you can do here too.
You also got to look at the attempts too. Okay, that's valid. You're saying attempts. You also got to look at the attempts. He's 22, 23, being the center point of an NFL team. That's Saquon Barkley type things right there. Like Saquon,
look at his yards
they're
per
building. They
carry.
should build their offense around him. They should build their offense around him. I think it's just off
Yeah.
the pure ability. I'm taking him over Austin Eckler. I think Austin Eckler, again, you said it. Good O lines help you a lot.
Oh yeah, if
I
I
think
think
Austin
pure
Eckler, like,
ability, I would take.
I'm
Probably
taking
Najee
Najee.
Harris.
I'm taking Najee.
But
I
you
think
also
Najee's
said pure.
better than
You
Austin
also said
Eckler.
pure ability. J.K. Dobbins better than Jonathan Taylor. So why do you
I'm
think he's top
thinking
two?
that- That's just
No,
that's
you've
subjective.
you've stood
That's
to that, though.
subjective. That's subjective,
But
and I'm
this
not saying
we're
this is
not
the
list
draft.
is whole
Stefano,
subjective.
this is my
No, this is objective. I'm objectively speaking.
this is what I will say. You might, if you're going off a pure ability, you could make a case why you take Christian McCaffrey at number 1, but you're not going to take him.
Well, you
at-
got to weigh in injuries as well.
but you're also going to be able to take.
It's not
in
just pure
the
ability.
backfield, the offensive line. We're doing this going into next year. I think that
team
all
around 'em.
contributes it.
Yeah, and I'm
You're not
taking
gonna take a QB.
I'm taking that
that-
into effect. I'm taking
You're
that into
not taking a QB over a guy that has the number 1 wide receiver over a guy that's going to be putting up okay. Like that's not going to have
Like Terry
the wide
McLaurin.
receiver. Like
Okay, no, I am taking that. I'm taking that into consideration. Austin Eckler has a better offensive line. Austin Eckler obviously
That's
didn't
what
have
he's
as much
saying. He's
attempts.
saying he's a better surrounding cast around him.
Yeah, but I'm also talking about if he had that same offensive line, he would be better. That's what I'm saying. I'm not. I know it's
That's
hypothetical.
That's a hypothetical.
do
I know it's a
can't say
hypothetical, but Najee Harris is a better skill set. Obviously, you have to take into consideration if they're injured a lot and their team around them. But Najee Harris is just better. I don't at some point you have to take into consideration everything. But at some point you have to say Najee Harris is just better, and I'm going to put him above him. Najee Harris is just better than Austin Eckler.
my only rebuttal is I don't deal with ifs. I deal with absolutes.
Okay, well when he has a better year,
And I won't be surprised at that. I won't be surprised at that at all.
He's a better
I-
offensive
I'm not
line and another year of
completely disagreeing with you,
experience.
but I'm just saying he's in the
I
better
think you could
situation
take-
now.
I think you can take 6 or honestly 7 through 10, and you could tell me whatever order, and I would.
I think it's
What do you
5.
think?
I think it's 5 through 10, honestly.
No. I was
No.
just
All
7
right.
through 10.
Who didn't say they're 8?
I said Joe Mixon at 8.
Okay, yeah.
I got him right next after Aaron Jones.
Hold on, let me look at my list again.
You have Aaron Jones at 7,
Oh,
No, I have.
or you have Joe Mixon at 7?
Yeah.
I haven't flip flopped. I have Aaron Jones at 7.
I have Mixon at 7 as
So it's
well.
pretty much all the same guy, but you have Zeke, so you have a pretty bad list so far.
Zeke is better than Aaron Jones, bro.
I
Aaron Jones better lose his
really-
job.
I think
Aaron
it's a
Jones
high
better
debate.
lose his job. Aaron Jones better lose his job.
All right, Zeke might lose his job to
He's
Tony
not losing his
Pollard.
job to Tony Pollard. He's not losing his job to Tony Pollard.
I think you can make a debate for either one. They're super similar.
Yeah.
I'm taking Aaron Jones.
Okay,
He's a
no,
better
no.
receiving back, and I think that's a huge part of this NFL now.
Matt, who'd you have it? You had it. Who'd you have it? Heat? I'm sorry.
I had Aaron Jones, and I
and
went
Joe
down to
Mixon
Joe
at 7.
Mixon at 7.
Who'd you have at 7, Brett?
I just haven't flip
Aaron
flopped.
Jones.
Oh, bro. Okay. Like, okay, you say Aaron Jones is better than Zeke. That's fine. Aaron Jones is not better than Joe Mixon.
I didn't say
I
that.
think it's
Not-
all
not
pretty
you, I'm
close,
talking
like
to
you said,
Brett.
you can just flip flop them.
I know you can
think it's all
flip flop
pretty
him, but
close.
that's like a pretty dumb flip flop right there.
I think you can make a debate for it. I think you're really
Yeah, but
discrediting Aaron Jones.
I'm not discrediting him. Aaron Jones is good, but he's not that good.
You don't have him in your
He's
top
my
10
11.
list.
He'd
That's
be in my 11.
disrespectful.
He'd be my 11. I completely.
Then why
This
wasn't
is-
he in
this
your
is a 10 list.
honorable
This is a
mention?
test.
Because
It's a
I
top 10
completely
list.
forgot about it until you said it. I was
Exactly.
considering
You
him
weren't
on my
even thinking
list.
about him.
I was considering. What do you mean? When I was making my list, I was considering him, but I didn't think about honorable mentions. I was thinking, younger guys. Javonte Williams is going to be one of them. J.K. Dobbins. I was thinking about younger guys who would be like who could take a step up this year.
All right.
Obviously, like I would have thought about Aaron Jones.
No, I think it's
He'd
a
be my
little bit
11.
disrespectful.
It's not disrespectful. Joe Mixon's clear of Aaron Jones. That's
I didn't say
disrespectful.
that. I said
Not
that
you. I'm talking to Brett. I'm not yelling at you.
All right,
Aaron
and you
Jones
have
is
on your list.
significantly
So
better
I
than
think
Zeke.
I
Bro,
think me.
Aaron Jones
I
is-
think you not having him on there is worse than me having him. At
No,
7.
it is not. Aaron
No,
Jones is
Brett's
not better than Joe
completely
Mixon.
right.
Joe Mixon, you talk about bad offensive lines. Okay, you can't use the attempt scapegoat now. You can't use it. Worst offensive line. The Bengals offensive line is trash. Joe Mixon can receive and he can
I'm going,
and he can
going
run.
strictly off last year. I mean, the Packers were missing their best guy.
Okay. I mean, honestly, like left tackle, it's left tackle, like your tackles are more important to your passing game than your rushing game. Like obviously it's important, but
I still think
The-
it involves something. Like you
The
have
Packers-
a starting rookie center, and he still put up good numbers.
I just think it's plain disrespectful, bro. That Joe Mixon
That he's
and you
not
talk
on
about it,
there,
they're
I
not in
know.
they're not in a rushing offense. Like you would consider they're not in a rushing offense. They
Both
don't
teams, I
rush
know.
the ball for. I would say the Packers run the ball way more than the Bengals. I would say the
But I
Packers
think-
are more of a rushing team than the Bengals.
I mean, more, but I would still say the Packers are more of a pass-heavy team.
Both are pass-heavy teams, but I think I think it depends on the weather and also like what they're playing against. They're both primarily a passing team.
You're not gonna have Aaron Rodgers as starting QB and not throw the ball.
All right.
You're not gonna
You're
have
not gonna have
Ravens
Joe
offense.
Burrow as
You're
your-
not gonna have a Ravens offense. You're not gonna have a Ravens offense with Aaron Rodgers under center.
You're not gonna have Joe Burrow in your team and run the ball.
Yeah,
You'd rather have Joe Burrow than Aaron Rodgers?
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying you're saying, oh, because I have Aaron Rodgers, I'm not gonna run the ball. Okay, you can say the same thing. Joe Burrow's.
That's what I said.
because
You
have Joe
said
Burrow.
I said they're both pass-heavy teams.
Okay, yeah, but the
Yeah.
Bengals are they're more pass heavy than the Packers, and that's the truth. The stats prove
I
it.
didn't disagree with that, but I still think that one.
Okay, I know.
The Packers are a run-heavy team.
So don't come on my neck like that.
All right.
All right, number 6,
Who do you guys have at 6?
Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara.
I have somebody different, which you guys are probably going to call me a fool for.
Nick Chubb.
No, best ability is availability. I have Chris McCaffrey. He cannot stay healthy.
I mean, I wouldn't disagree.
I
with that.
mean,
Like,
all right, but
If he's healthy, if you turn off injuries, he's top 3. No
Easily,
question.
but
but-
you can't stay healthy.
He can't. It's different. If it was just last season, you could be like injuries, but it's been the past 2 seasons and his whole career, even going back to Stanford, he had injury problems literally every single year of his career that I've known him since his like freshman year at Stanford. Like it's just injury prone. Best availability best ability is availability. That's why I have him at 6. Like you can't, regardless of just pure ability, insane, just can't stay healthy.
okay, I'll take that, Matt.
I
I have
agree.
Kamara at 6. Just want to say on
I'd
Kamara.
say Kamara, second best dual threat running back in the league.
I
But
mean,
again,
put it-
obviously your guy Christian McCaffrey, I'd say he's the best, obviously the best dual threat running back. Alvin
Yeah.
Kamara, but again, possibly missing the first 6 games of the year isn't a good look for
Yeah.
him.
man, I really don't
mean-
care. I mean, I'm just gonna throw this Kamara. I mean, talking about like my lifetime, what I watched, he probably had one of the craziest performances in a game that I've ever watched. I mean, it's
5
up there.
touchdowns.
Yeah.
There's
So
7.
that's up there. That with like Jamal Charles's game, like that. Those are up there with these performances that I
It was
watched.
definitely more than 5. It was Christmas
I
Day.
think it was.
definitely
I think it
more
was
than
6 or
5.
7 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think it was 6 or 7.
Yeah, it was definitely more than 5. I think it was 7 touchdowns. He scored
Should I
7
say my
touchdowns. in a game.
5 then?
Who's your 5? Yeah.
Kamara.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Come on. Yeah, I knew Kamara was gonna be up here. Kamara's. I think
7
I
through
think
10
that's-
are debatable. 6 through 4 somewhat debatable.
They're
and
gonna be
then-
the same guys. It's
top
gonna be
3.
the same guys.
But I say you could flip them around. I mean, and
Yeah.
you could
Hey.
uh,
agree with it. Unlike you're pretty stubborn headed on it.
Me?
I mean, not me.
No,
No, he's talking
not.
about me. He's talking about me. I mean, I'm not stubborn. I'm just confused on this tomfoolery.
I'm just confused on how much.
Like
you're-
I think Aaron Jones. No, I think Aaron Jones is good, bro. Like, don't take it out of context. I think Aaron Jones is really good. But like to say
You
Joe
said you're
Mixon,
taking Zeke over him. That is.
I'm taking
ridiculous
Zeke
to
over.
me.
The Zeke hate like has to stop. The Zeke hate actually has to stop.
Zeke
Zeke-
is not that.
How are
good.
how are the
He has
Cowboys
arguably the best offensive line?
hating on the Zeke, bro? Hating on Zeke, bro. Hating on Zeke. He doesn't. You don't magically lose your ability over the years like that. It doesn't magically
Yes,
just happen
you
like that.
do.
I've seen it happen with plenty
Todd
of
Gurley
athletes.
was the best player in the NFL.
Todd Gurley. That was because of injury, though.
and
that was
Zeke
'cause
got
of
injured.
injury.
He's been getting injured.
Yeah, but he didn't fucking. Todd Gurley like broke his leg in half. That
No, he didn't.
was
Todd
his
Gurley.
ACL.
No,
Then what did he tear then?
he got arthritis.
Okay, that's even worse. Arthritis slowly affects you. That's even worse, Matt. That's worse for your argument. Arthritis slowly affects you. It's just gonna make your joints even worse.
No,
That-
people do have just crazy seasons and it's fall off. You can't say people just lose their ability to play.
Bro,
Zeke is-
Cordell Patterson is going to do terrible next year. He's not going to put up numbers like he did last year.
Okay, but it's Cordell Patterson. It's
But
Cordell
what do you
Patterson.
mean? It
He's on
doesn't
the
matter who it
Falcons.
is. It could be
I'm
Jim Bob. You said people don't
last
lose their
year-
ability
That's
to
a-
play.
last year. I'm taking as
People
just
have
a skill
great
position.
random
I'm
seasons.
taking.
Peyton Hillis. Look at Peyton Hillis.
Bro,
Yeah.
that was literally the definition of one and done.
But
Like,
that's
Zeke
what
is-
you're saying doesn't
See, you know,
happen
but you're
at
saying
all.
Zeke. You're saying Zeke is one and done. Like he had one good
I
year
would
and
say
he's
he's
fallen
one and
off
done, but
since
he's
then.
Yeah,
he
like-
has
Well, that's what
fallen
you're
off.
saying. That's basically what you're
He has
saying.
fallen off.
You're comparing
The
to
way
Peyton
running
Hillis.
back
Peyton Hillis
Stefano-
literally had one
Not
good year.
comparing. I didn't
He had
compare.
1,300
I did not
yards and
compare
stopped.
Zeke to Peyton
That's
Hillis.
what
I
you just said.
compared
Then why are you bringing
no,
up his name?
because
Stefano,
you said
I feel
people
like
don't lose
this.
the ability to play.
Stefano, this is how I'm seeing it. A running back's career, you have if you draft him in the first round, get your first 5 years. Those first 4.5, they're gonna put up absurd numbers because they're already highly talented. Like they're gonna be top 5 running
Running
back.
backs can have the shortest lifespan.
Then around that 5 season, that 5th-year option, when he gets extended, that's where he starts getting injury bugs. He's still going to put up good numbers. And then right around the 2nd to 3rd season after his new contract, so year like 6, 7-ish, they fall off pretty bad.
29, 30 at that point.
This is where Zeke is going to fall off. And this is where it's predictions going into it. Zeke's going to not put up better numbers than last year, in my opinion. And I don't think he was top 10 last year. What would him putting up a less, I think, like I said,
Worst year.
worst numbers
Wouldn't
he's
give
not
him a
gonna be
boost.
moving up into that list at all.
All right, Matt. All right.
All right, so
Yeah,
who
I
do you guys got 4?
No. Let me say one more thing. When
At
Zeke
five-
has a
well, we
good
didn't
year
get
next
5.
year, when Zeke has a good year next year, don't come crying back to me. All right.
I would love
Yeah.
Zeke to do
No,
good.
because I know
have
because
him
like
dynasty. I
you're
have him
telling
in
me
our
I'm
dynasty league.
disrespecting Aaron Jones. Like you're
All right,
criminally
okay. If Aaron
disrespecting
Jones
him.
had a good year, don't come.
You're-
Don't
I'm-
come saying
yeah.
it. So I can say the same thing.
You're
Steph,
criminally
who-
disrespecting Zeke.
Steph,
Like
now,
you
would
could
you-
say I'm disrespecting Aaron Jones. I just said I'd have him at 11. You're criminally disrespecting Zeke.
Stefano, I know
Criminally.
fantasy doesn't really judge all football, but running backs, it is a big thing. If you have Zeke, would you do a straight swap with Aaron Jones?
All right, if we're talking about fantasy, Antonio Gibson's top 15 then. If we're talking about fantasy.
No, I had him for most of last year. He didn't do too good.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I had him in fantasy football. Like, you're like you make an argument and I give you facts for it. He didn't.
All right.
do, he had
Either
two
way,
good games.
regardless. All right. Let's keep on going. Who do you guys have a 4?
Najee Harris was the second best running back in the league.
All right. Who do you guys have a 4?
Oh, at 4.
You
I
skipped
guess I'll
5.
skip 5.
Oh, I
You
said
said
5.
5,
I
you
said
said Kamara.
already. So you guys go.
I have Nick Chubb.
At 5, I have Christian McCaffrey. Pretty much same thing you said, Matt.
Yeah.
Potential wise, obviously there, but 2 seasons in a row, not being able to pretty much. He played 3 games to start the year, came
Yeah.
back for like 1 or something, and then you
Well,
He
just
barely
play.
played that one.
I'll say my
Yeah.
4 then because it's McCaffrey. I have McCaffrey at 4.
All right.
So not much
My
need to be said about that.
My 4 is Nick Chubb. We all are. Like I said, I think 6 through like I said, 7 through like 10, completely debatable. 6 through about 4, it's going to be the same guys, debatable in each position. Then, because we all had a different order, and then 1 and 2, or 1 through 3 through 1, we should all have the same order and the same player, in my opinion.
All right.
And who do you have it for, Brett?
Nick Chubb.
Yeah, nothing needs to be said. I'm not gonna say
Not the
no.
best receiving back, but one of the best pure running backs in the league.
Oh, 100%.
All right. All right. So again, I said 4. I had McCaffrey, and then 5. I had Chubb. All right, 3. We can all say it. Dalvin Cook.
Yep.
Yep.
Uh,
One of the shiftiest running backs in the league, being able
he's-
to find gaps and stuff like that.
He's probably one of my favorite players in the league, just because like when I won my fantasy league 2 years ago in 2019, I had him and Lamar, and that's when Dalvin Cook literally went insane in fantasy. Again, Brett said it's shifty
Injury
as shit.
concerns a little bit last year. Alexander Madison was popping off, but
I think he also has one of the out of like the top
bad
5,
offensive lines.
my top 5, so not including McCaffrey. I think he is probably the worst offensive line.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Titans kind of have ass offensive line.
Huh?
Titans kind of had a really bad offensive line
I
last
know. I'm
year.
gonna say it's either Titans or it's gonna be the Vikings, but either way,
Also
they're
lost their
like
the best lineman.
what them two, Derrick Henry and him, they put up incredible numbers with bad not great offensive lines.
2. Jonathan Taylor.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Like
He put up incredible.
if he does it
numbers.
again, yeah, but like people obviously, and then again, we can all say it. Derrick Henry.
He had and Jonathan Taylor, he had it for 1 year, which I think is there.
It was the second year.
Well, he didn't put up he was not a top 10 running back next year.
Yeah.
Year 1.
Or like going into next year or last year. He has, I think, the best offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the number 1 focal point. Same thing with Derrick Henry. But like if he puts the same numbers like Steph said this year, next year, like this coming year as he did last year, and Derrick Henry doesn't do as great, I think he takes over. But right now, Derrick Henry has had 1 injury, and he's been arguably one of the best running backs we've seen in our lifetime. The
In the past decade.
The only other running back
Adrian
I've personally
Peterson.
seen, that's come close to it is AP.
Yeah.
People have had their peaks, but like he's done it for multiple years.
Consistently too.
Yeah.
He put up
Completely
2,000
dominant.
yards. He probably would have put up 2,000 yards this year.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up. Like,
He maybe could have broke the rushing record.
yeah, that's
He
what
was like 400, 500 yards above everyone.
and this is what I was talking
Yeah.
about. Like, this is what I was talking about before with Eckler and Najee. Like, okay, like obviously you don't want to do too much hypothetical, but like because Henry was hurt this year, but he probably would have had better numbers this year than Jonathan Taylor, just being honest. Like,
Yeah.
if you look at it, he was on
Yeah.
pace like through what?
Well, that's
4 or 5
that's
weeks?
like the projection from his stats. You're saying
Yeah.
switching players on teams.
Well,
Okay,
even
that-
if
Which I
that-
think
sorry,
is a
Derrick
little
Henry,
different.
I think by like week 16, he was still in the top 5 of rushing.
no,
Yeah.
he was.
That's absurd.
Once Derrick Henry gets past the first 5 yards, because I think that's your only chance to stop him. Once he gets past 5 yards, it's literally like guaranteed 10 to 12
Well,
yards
that's
every
how we
time.
stopped him. It's the only way we
As
could
I'm saying,
stop him.
the only down thing you say about Derrick Henry is just his start. His legs are so long, you can wrap him up.
I was
That's how
going
you
to
have
say,
to start him. That's how you have to
It
stop him
sounds
pretty much. Which
crazy.
is
but the theory is Derrick Henry is not a great short yardage running back.
he's really not, which is
because he
weird
can
because he's
get
so
wrapped
big.
up like that. But once
Yeah.
you literally start going, there's no stopping that momentum. Like,
Yeah,
he-
it's too
unless
much
you have a
momentum.
really
He doesn't
good
have the
basketball.
he's not the shiftiest guy, but it's just like
And
you
it,
can't bring him down.
And the thing
It's-
is, he's still kind of shift. Like, I saw a video this offseason, him running up a full ass mountain, just carrying like probably like
his workouts are
100 pounds
insane.
of weights, doing jukes. That's
No.
that should not be physically possible.
I
No,
think
his
his
work-
lateral speed isn't like there, like with like a
Yeah,
Dalvin Cook,
yeah.
obviously, but like
Yeah, but
you can still do it a little bit. But
Or
it's,
size-
once you're that good at one thing, being able to just bulldoze through people, like it doesn't matter if you can't do other stuff.
Yeah.
his workouts are insane, bro. Have you seen him? I'm pretty sure he was like doing push-ups on like a fucking yoga ball, and like he had like fucking chains like on himself.
Yeah. It's
Or
He's
it's
a
insane.
freak. His arms are literally like
No, and like that.
I don't even
his
know.
arms
I
are
don't know if
bigger.
you were watching week 1 against the Cardinals. Like
Yes, bro.
he only had like 60 yards, but like this is when you were saying about offensive lines being really bad. Like he couldn't get like by the time they hiked the ball and he got out of the backfield and was
Austin
ready to
Chandler
run, like
Jones
they were
also had,
already
I think,
on him. They were
Chandler
al-
Jones also had 12 sacks that game.
Yeah, they
so-
were already on him. Like it was insane how good he is not to get tackled right there. Like
Although
obviously,
honestly-
obviously it's easier to stop him there when you can stop him first 5 yards. But if he's downhill, like I've only seen one person stop Derrick Henry after he's gone past the 5 yard marker and no longer a Raven. The GOAT.
But
The only-
versatility.
well, I
He's definitely not the most versatile running back at all. Like
I mean, when
But-
you're so good at like
you don't
pure
he doesn't
rushing,
need
you don't
it.
really need to, you know.
I think what we really got from this list is how disrespected Aaron Jones is.
Bro, you are disrespecting Zeke so much. I hate Zeke.
I-
I actually can't stand Zeke.
I can-
I think
I
leaving.
hate-
I think
go-
leaving a player that me and Matt put
He's
at
11.
at 8 and 7 out is worse than you
He's
having
at
a guy
11.
10. I think
Stefano, I
there's more
cannot
disrespect.
wait until next season and we can see who.
All
puts
right,
up
Matt. I'm
Who
not
would
like
you rather
you.
have if you
No,
were
no,
building
no,
a
no, no,
team?
no,
Who would you
listen,
rather
listen.
have?
I'd rather have right now Zeke. All right, I'm not ignorant like you, Matt. Matt, if he has a good year next year, I can change my mind. You are the most ignorant person I've met. You don't like players because they play on a certain team. So don't talk about me saying all this shit because I'm not ignorant. I'm not ignorant. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. All right, but
I know how
I'm
to
just
admit
telling
I'm
you, I'd rather
wrong.
have Zeke. I'd rather have Zeke. I'd
I
rather
know
have
how to
Zeke in
admit
this
I'm
moment
wrong.
than Aaron Jones. No, you do not admit
No, you
when you're
don't.
wrong. You're literally the one
You
person
really-
who does not
you
admit when
don't.
they're wrong.
I clearly know
You
how to
don't
admit
draft
when I'm
players
wrong.
because they play on the Steelers, bro. You're as ignorant as they get.
I'm loyal.
No, you're not loyal.
Has
That's
nothing to
not
do with
loyalty.
Has
That's
nothing to do
that's
with
insanity.
loyalty.
That's insanity.
All right. Regardless, I think we still. Other than like the Aaron Jones Zeke
9 out of
mishap,
10 people were the
we
same.
all still had basically a
Pretty
very
much the
similar
same list. Like we said, you can flip flop certain categories.
Yeah, you could take McCaffrey, but we
Where
still
did you
have
have
McCaffrey,
like,
Chubb,
Steph?
and Kamara all in the same.
Actually,
group.
never mind, pretty much. What do you have him at 7?
Huh?
Who?
I know you're
I have
coming like
McCaffrey 6, Kamara
no,
5.
I'm talking to Steph,
Chubb
but
4.
because I had me and Matt had Joe Mixon and Aaron Jones flip flop. Like it's pretty much it's like the same like spot pretty much.
Yeah, there's not a
They're not
huge
even like
debacle of it.
I
Yeah.
have
I
Mixon at
said you
7.
could put 7 through 10 any order. You could put 6 through 4 in any order. You could put.
I also
you
did that
have
on the
to have
fly. Like
one-
just
you have to
I
have
mean,
1, 2, and 3 in that order, in my opinion. That's
I'm
really
also
it.
gonna give a shout out for next year in fantasy. David Montgomery. David Montgomery about to go crazy next year in fantasy.
I agree.
Don't let me get him.
Also, fantasy. Do you know who my 2 sneaky guys are?
Let me guess. Are they both running backs?
Yeah.
All right. One's probably gonna be Travis Etienne. That's one of my guesses for hold on, I'm looking at some. Probably DeAndre Swift. I don't know.
I was thinking way bigger of a like jump, I guess. I don't know what to call
Well,
it.
like-
DeAndre Swift, you know you're gonna put up numbers.
Well, like
so
Rashad Penny.
some like one of those type of guys. Chase Edmonds next year, he's gonna be crazy on the
Dolphins. Oh, who's your other guy?
Raheem Mustard. He's also on the Dolphins.
can
I
never
think
stay
that backfield's
healthy.
gonna go crazy.
he can never stay healthy.
Raheem Mustard.
Bro, that I think
He's good for the first 2 games, but then he doesn't play the next.
I'm just saying that
15.
backfield is gonna be a dirty backfield if you're doing something in fantasy.
I'm drafting both the Cooks.
That's not bad. I think I'm not gonna give away my strategy.
I know
Oh.
your strategy.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
You don't know who I'm taking 1-1.
Well, I know you're
Well,
not
you're
taking
not-
any. I know you're not taking any Steelers players, so that kind of narrows it
Yeah, that's
down.
part of your strategy.
You could have Najee
You're-
Harris in
you're
round
saying-
7. You still won't take him.
I
You're
don't
taking
think any-
divisional players.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't usually take any divisional players.
Yeah, because you said you wanted Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb last year. You said you would
Yeah,
take them.
I would take them, but I don't draft them.
Thank God I took Nick Chubb last year over Antonio Gibson because my Wi-Fi was bad.
Bro,
I thought you said Antonio Gibson was a beast in
I mean, he's
top
not a
fantasy.
good
15
I
running
took-
back.
I mean, he had a good year.
No, he didn't.
I think
He
he had a better
actually,
year, though.
I actually,
me and Brett both had him in our separate leagues. He was not good.
He was terrible. He
never
did
mind
good
then.
for like
I
2
could
games.
because every time he played me, I swear he dropped 30
He had
points.
2 good games.
Then you must have played him at the very beginning of the year because trust me, he was horrible. I traded him away for Alvin Kamara somehow.
Bro, fleeced him. That's who I want to draft.
I also got somebody else. In that
I want
mean, you're
Kamara.
not-
I want him
you
last
probably
year,
won't
too.
play him. You know, won't have him for the first couple weeks.
Kamara.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I get him in the 3rd round, I'll take him. I don't care.
He's not, dude.
Do you think
third
Michael
round-
Thomas plays?
I hope he does. I don't know. He's still be injured.
There's a
He's had
couple
2
other
years, basically.
Saints players that are going to be sneaky.
More like
Taysom
Chris
Hill.
Olave.
Chris,
Oh.
that's it. Chris Olave wasn't even the first guy that came to my head.
And like Jimmy Graham, like he's still in the league.
People forget about Michael Thomas.
I literally
You
just said Michael Thomas.
Thomas.
You said Chris Olave.
No, I said before that. I said you think Michael Thomas plays.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, you never know. I thought he was gonna play last year. I had him on every one of my fantasy leagues.
Probably gonna do it this year again. I drafted him as well. But all right,
Mm.
I don't really got much.
Yeah, I
much
think
else to say.
Yeah,
I think it
then
wraps it up. We'll
yeah.
just wait. Aaron
Uh,
Jones has a better year than Zeke.
Yeah. So next week, we're gonna
I might take
uh,
him 1-1 in
we're
fantasy.
doing safeties next
Probably
week. Or, or do you want to do
maybe
linebackers?
linebackers.
Let's do
Kinda goes with
linebackers.
running.
Yeah. We'll do top 10 linebackers. And with NBA and everything finishing, we're also going to start our predictions for the NFL. We're going to go division by division. So AFC South next week. Want to start on that?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So thank you to anyone who watched. Again, if you watch next week, AFC South and top 10 linebackers. Thank you again and deuces.
Peace.
2016, I got locked in that cell and they ain't let me out. Money, I'm talking, you know that I'm ballin', I'm hustlin', I ain't never seen a drum. Spending this cash, but I cannot forget to make sure all my niggas on. Spending this money, no question, do I think about it? I never say that I don't. Walk off alone when I talk on the phone. Dropping the price and you know that they on. Soon as we get it, you know that it's gone. I swear that we been at this shit for so long. Mama asked for something, I tell her no. She tell me I ain't shit and act like I'm wrong. I'm running that check up every time I'm gone. For Christmas, I swear I'ma buy you a home. I get on my knees and I pray on my own. I'm thanking the Lord that I'm here, I ain't gone. I pray the judge let Q come home. Chopper boy feel he all alone. You know